none of us have personally observed anything other than a fair, transparent, and accountable election in line with democratic norms, international standards, and Bangladesh's local circumstances.
Going to make a report, and our report will be public. It will be turned in within 30 days, probably 2 weeks from now. We will give you all of our findings, and importantly, we will give you recommendations that we feel are important for your democracy. Today, he is the CEO of American Global Strategies, and we're glad to have Mr. Gray, and I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Gray for our statement.
Be here in Bangladesh, and for this group to be able to participate in and to observe your parliamentary election. It was a great honor. We are a group of international observers with diverse professional backgrounds from 7 countries, including the United States, who have observed the 12th National Assembly elections of Bangladesh. On January 7th, 2024, we were divided into 3 groups and observed over 20 polling stations in or near Dhaka. The international community has a keen interest in and an expectation of free and fair elections in Bangladesh and the success of Bangladesh's democratic governance. This team of international observers witnessed voting from 8 a.m. until the polls closed at 4 p.m. Talking to voters in the polling stations, we found they did not face any obstacles in voting. We did not hear or see reports or indications of voter intimidation by any entity, party, or candidate. We observed, particularly outside of Dhaka, positive indications of significant voter turnout. While we did not witness instances of violence or disruption, we have seen media reports of such instances across Bangladesh, and we have expressed to the appropriate authorities our concerns. However, as stated, none of us have personally observed anything other than a fair, transparent, and accountable election in line with democratic norms, international standards, and Bangladesh's local circumstances. Attending today's press conference as part of this observer team are former United States Congressman, the Honorable Jim Bates, a former senior U.S. official, United States government official, Javier Piedra, Mr. Terry Easley, who's an Organization of Security and Cooperation in Europe certified election observer, the Director of Africa House London, Mr. Richard Simatego, the political editor of the EU Reporter, Mr. Nicholas Hugh Powell, the founder and CEO of GBP International, Mr. Volker Friedrich, the president of the World Peace Organization of Norway, Mr. Anders Norden, former member of the Australian Parliament for New South Wales Legislative Council, Mr. Shaukat Muslimani, and myself, Alexander Gray, former Deputy Assistant to the President of the United States and Chief of Staff of the White House National Security Council. We would be pleased at this point to take any questions, and I know my colleagues all have important points to make. Thank you very much.
Going to make a report, and our report will be public. It will be turned in within 30 days, probably 2 weeks from now. We will give you all of our findings, and importantly, we will give you recommendations that we feel are important for your democracy. But it's very difficult for us to get too deep into the woods with you all because of our code of conduct that we have signed with the Election Commission of Bangladesh, which requires us to maintain strict political impartiality. So we've made our statement to you today, and we're going to issue a formal report that'll be very comprehensive, and this report will also include, we think, important recommendations for your democracy. And we'll make sure that that's made public and you'll all get access to that. So I'm afraid that's about all we can say, and I apologize for that, but that's the world that we live in, and that's the code of conduct that we operate under. So I want to thank you all for coming. Thank you. It's not for us to say what the voter turnout means to the international community. It's for each international community to decide that for themselves. How are we to say what a voter turnout is or should have been? That's not for us to determine. Our determination and our mandate is the election free, is it fair, and is it safe? And for our observation, I think we'll all agree that we found it to be free, fair, and largely safe. Now, we know there were some incidents that occurred, but when you have over 4,000 polling stations and you only have incidents at maybe 24, that's still relatively a low number in a safe election. And we're very proud of Bangladesh. We're proud of your military and your police, because I think your military and your police helped make it a safe election. We all felt safe here. And that's about all we can really talk about. It's not for us to decide what your voter turnout means, one way or the other. But thank you for asking.
Anyway, then what about the terms of credibility? In terms of credibility, what is your...
Again, that's not our mandate. We don't determine whether it's credible or not. We just determine, is it fair, is it safe, and is it free? And our observation is, honestly, that it was fair and it was safe and it was largely free. I mean, largely safe is definitely fair and free that we have seen. It was very impressive the way your election commission put things together. Now, we are not partisan, and so we have to maintain our strict impartiality, impartial judgment regarding this election. Our role is just to come, to observe and report. And what I'm telling you is that our report will be issued within 30 days, and it will include everything that you need to know from us, and it will also include what I think are going to be some important recommendations that we're going to make that will, I think, improve your democracy and your process.
It was very important for us to follow a strict guidelines of professional observation, and what we've observed on the day as an Australian, former Assistant President of the Legislative Council of New South Wales, what we've observed was that it was free and fair and was very safe. We were able to walk in to 7 different polling stations within Dhaka and outside of Dhaka, and did not see, hear or witness any evidence of violence or influence of any form, other than the opportunity for us to speak to polling station officers and voters. And they were free to speak, and we were able to ask them questions, and they were able to answer questions without any hesitations. So we found that, as observers, as very encouraging for the people of Bangladesh. And I concur with what Mr. Islami said. Congratulations to the people of Bangladesh for ensuring that you have a very safe and important election for the people of Bangladesh. Can I add one more thing, that I was extremely impressed with the fact that there were many women that turned up to vote, and they were freely able to cast their vote without any impediments. And as an Australian, where we would have 2 weeks of pre-poll, and then the election day, which takes it to about 11, what takes 5 days, 10 days, 11 days of elections, we would have a mandatory elections. The people of Bangladesh to turn out and be able to vote is a credit to the people of Bangladesh and to the political system here. So it's important that you recognize that we are merely professional observers giving you professional observations of the election day only.
I feel compelled to add some information. I came here a neutral observer, but I will leave a big supporter of Bangladesh. I'm so impressed with the progress that the country is making. But the question I have responds to the question that the media seems to continually ask about the voter turnout. And I said, how can that be meaningful when Bangladesh has the shortest term voting hours from 8 to 4, and most countries have many days of voting, so naturally the turnout number will be much higher. And so I don't understand if you don't put that into context, it's almost meaningless. But anyway, it's been a great experience, great colleagues here, tremendous free press turnout. I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Okay. We, as an International Observer team, has not received a single complaint, not one. And we told people early on, if you see something, say something, and say it to us. And nobody has reported anything to us. I will say this, that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. If you have evidence that something has happened that is wrong, fraudulent, or irregular, we want to see it. And you can send that to us, and we'll certainly investigate it.
The comment about international standards pertains to the remit of these observers, which is the process, the technical process of voting. The voting itself, the procedures surrounding voting, in the observation of everyone at this table, met international standards for free, fair, transparent, and accountable. Again, we do not comment on political matters pertaining to parties and any of the political machinations involving Bangladesh's election. That's outside of our remit. We are simply commenting on the technical nature of the voting itself.
All right, I want to thank you for coming again. I don't want to get too deep in the woods because we run the risk of violating our code of conduct in maintaining strict political impartiality. But again, our report will be made public. We have 30 days to make it. It'll probably be done in 2 weeks, and we'll make sure that you all get a copy of it. Again, I want to thank you for coming. Thank you.
স্কিন কেয়ার ট্রিটমেন্ট করালেই তো পারিস, কিন্তু কোথা থেকে করাবো এটাও জানিস না। চল আমি নিয়ে যাচ্ছি।
টিপটপ মার্টের হাইড্রা ফেশিয়াল ট্রিটমেন্টটি আপনার স্কিন পরিষ্কার করবে গভীর থেকে, ডেড সেল দূর করবে, স্কিন হাইড্রেট রাখবে, স্কিন টোন স্মুথ রাখবে, স্কিন উজ্জ্বল করবে, বয়সের ছাপ কমাবে, ব্ল্যাক হেডস ও হোয়াইট হেডস দূর হবে এবং সব ধরনের ত্বকের জন্য উপযোগী।
Top Mart Limited. Your expectation is our commitment.
স্মার্ট বাংলাদেশ গড়ার লক্ষ্যে স্মার্ট পদ্ধতিতে নির্বাচনের প্রচার না করে আপনি পিছিয়ে পড়ছেন না তো? আপনি যদি একজন জনপ্রতিনিধি হয়ে থাকেন, তবে আপনার উন্নয়ন কার্যক্রম সোশ্যাল মিডিয়ায় প্রচার করে আপনি পৌঁছে যাবেন আপনার এলাকাবাসীর একদম কাছে। আপনার উন্নয়নের সকল কার্যক্রমের ডকুমেন্টারি, ভিডিও রিলস, গ্রাফিক্স তৈরির মাধ্যমে আপনার গ্রহণযোগ্যতা বাড়াতে ওয়েব কিংডম সহায়ক ভূমিকা পালন করবে। ইতিমধ্যে ওয়েব কিংডম জনপ্রিয় ও প্রভাবশালী জনপ্রতিনিধিদের উন্নয়ন কার্যক্রমে ভূমিকা রেখেছে। এখনই সঠিক সময় আগামী জাতীয় সংসদ নির্বাচনকে সামনে রেখে আপনার সকল অনলাইন প্রচারণার দায়িত্বের জন্য স্মার্ট কাউকে বেছে নেয়ার। আমাদের সাথে যোগাযোগ করবার মোবাইল নাম্বার 01711158496 এবং 01913089045।